mom and the younger daughter tied and restrained to their beds.
That's correct.
And what about the other daughter?
Well, the other daughter was also restrained to her bed.
To her bed in her own bedroom.
In her own bedroom.
And the father's still downstairs in the sunroom, reading on the couch.
He's tied but not restrained to the couch.
Okay. So go ahead.
For whatever reason, we didn't.
You didn't restrain him?
We didn't restrain him.
Okay.
So, we left Stephen in the mom's car, me in my car. We drove down Mountain Road.
Did you leave the father in that sunroom?
Yes.
Okay. So you're driving, you go get your car, Steve takes mom's, what was that?
It's a sport utility, like a sportier.
So like an SUV?
Kind of, except like one of those crossbreeds between a car and an SUV.
Okay. You remember the color?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. So Steve drives, you drive, where do you go?
We went down Mountain Road. My original plan was to park my vehicle at Stop and Shop. But Steve thought that was too far away, so I instead passed Steve on Mountain Road and pulled into a condo complex across the street from West Main Street when you come to the end of Mountain.
Any particular reason you picked that?
I just figured I could park in one of the visitor parking spots and
wouldn't be noticeable.
No one would be hiding in plain sight.
Okay.
I got out of my vehicle, locked it, and as Steve turned around and came back, and I got into Mom's car with Steve and drove back to the house. We had gotten into an argument on the way back to the house about his speed, because I knew that the Cheshire PD patrolled Mountain Road for speeders on the regular.
So you didn't want to get stopped?
Yeah, we didn't want to get stopped on the way back to the house in a vehicle that wasn't ours.
Okay. So now you're back at the house in the homeowner's vehicle.
Yes.
And you go back into the house.
We entered into the house from the sunroom back door, where the father is still sitting on the couch.
Okay.
He had asked if the women were all right, and I responded by saying, reassuring him that they were fine, they were behaving themselves, and that everything would be fine.
Okay.
So Steve was tromping around the house and looking through stuff and whatnot. I went upstairs. Sort of sat with the youngest daughter. I noticed that she was, since being separated from her mom earlier, she was a lot more. She was a lot more stressed out than she was earlier.
Okay.
And was sweating profusely on her bed. I went back downstairs and got her a glass of water, brought that back up to her, untied her hands, and let her have something to drink. The sleeping bag that she used as a bedspread, the top sheet, I took off and threw it off to the side because the area was soaking wet.
Okay.
And then when she was done with the glass of water, I let her lay back down without tying her hands so that she was a little more comfortable.
Okay.
I felt comfortable not tying her up because she was very well behaved. Very compliant.
Anything occur at that time with you and her?
No, we just talked a little bit about music and whatnot. And I would leave periodically to go check on the older sister and the mother and the father.
Okay. So things are pretty status quo at this point in the house. You guys are still biding time?
We're biding time. Steve and I were nipping at each other a little bit because the stress level was very high. And, I've never done anything like this with anybody else. I was very uncomfortable with the situation, and I just felt very out of control, the whole thing.
Okay.
So the stress was starting to build between Steve and I.
All right. So where are we time-wise? What time do you think we're at?
This is probably about 5 o'clock-ish, 5:30-ish.
5 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay.
But there was definitely light outside.
Starting to get light? Okay.
At that point, we realized that we had to get the father out of the sunroom because it was getting so light, and the potential of being high visibility into that room. We didn't want anybody to see him tied up with a towel on his head.
Right. You were afraid somebody could see into the house and see he was hurt or whatever?
Yeah, so we untied his feet and asked him if he was able to walk down to the basement. He said he was able to, and I helped him get up, a little dizzy. But we walked over to the basement stairs and made his way down the steps and down into the basement.
Okay.
We were going to have him lean up, sit down in the middle area of the basement and lean up against one of the concrete lolly columns.
Mm-hmm.
He was a little shaky from what I can only assume was shock from losing blood. He wasn't bleeding as bad as he was. It had slowed the towel. So I went upstairs and grabbed one of the big cushions off the couch so that he could sit on that instead of the cold concrete floor. And they got another pillow for his back against the lolly column.
Did you tie him back up?
Yeah, I retied his feet while Steve stood over the two of us with the big gun.
Was he assaulted again?
He was not. He was not assaulted for the rest of the evening. Just that one time.
Just at the beginning? Okay. So he's back downstairs. He's restrained. Is he tied to the lolly column?
No, he wasn't tied to the lolly column. He was just sitting there.
Okay. Go ahead.
So we went back upstairs. Again, he was rummaging around. He did do some cleanup in the sunroom. Steve did.
Okay.
The table was knocked over and there was some blood on the tile floor, so we threw a blanket over it. And threw a throw spread over the couch. There was blood on the couch.
Okay.
So somebody looked in the window there and see blood all over the place. I went back upstairs to check on the two daughters.
You just came from downstairs with Dad, with Steve. You retied him. You moved him because you're worried about daylight, you said. Then you came up. You took care of some blood in the sunroom. Now you're back upstairs. You said you went back upstairs to check on the other all the females that were restrained. They're still restrained in the same spot that they were before you went and moved the cars and whatnot?
We had still in their beds. We had also, or Steve had brought up the point that about what they did for work and whether or not they needed to be, somebody needed to call in sick for them.